What's up, guys? Come Blader again, and today I'm gonna do a little bit of a follow-up, answer a few comments, and kind of set some things straight for how I talked about the is it worth playing Elsword in 2020. So it's more of like me going through comments and explaining a lot more. This time around it's gonna be off script. I have not done anything scripting. I just saw all the comments that within the span of time have piled up, so I kind of want to address a few things and so on and so forth. So first of all, free to play. Now, I saw a lot of comments saying if you're a free to play player, you are going to have a struggle of getting started in this game. While that is the case, the game is still free to play. Starting up with an account, a character, a class, and going up through the 99 levels and then the additional 999 levels are still completely free to go off. Anything above that, such as end game gear, anything like that, is still going to heavily struggle uh, obtaining such things, such as costumes and other things like that, unless, of course, that you're funded by another player, which a lot of people meme about. A lot of people are saying they spent a lot of money on this game and now it's bad, but in the end, I'm sorry to say, but that was your overall, choice. Like, you spent money in the game, and so did I, and I'm sure we both regret it. So, a lot of people saying the game is bad, and well, it depends on your eyes. Someone said, as a free to play, must have paid $20 since the first Elsword back in 2016. Took a lot of breaks since I've started playing more seriously 1 year ago. It's possible to have a good or bad characters freely if you play every day a certain amount of time. So I think he means here that dailies are a big thing in the game. If you do your dailies, you will have, a good decent like income of either you can trade things away, because usually some daily things do end up becoming uh what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like expensive depending on how far into the game you are. He says it's a really greedy game, and yes, you can be tempted to play this game because it is kind of a game that gives you a little bit of a additional benefit when you do pay. However, paying is more of around the idea of a gotcha, which someone does state in these comments as well. Someone said, I don't know why I just started playing Happy Face, because for me, other games are boring. I don't know why. Someone says, trust me, you're not alone on that, though. I do enjoy single player games. And then someone just decides to put a mean comment afterwards. Elsewhere kind of died on me when my region server got mixed up with other servers, now called the international server. Yeah, this does end up happening to a lot of games. Sadly, Elsword was one that was pulled into the international server kind of aspect, so no country outside of the US, sorry, let me restate that. Any country outside of America, Canada, and I think Mexico still reside at the NA, but every other country outside that resides in the international server. But there are a few problems with that because NA, I think, is still slightly above the international server. I could be completely wrong about this because I have never touched the international server. The international server players tend to come over to NA. So that is one major issue. Now, it's not necessarily a problem because a lot of games have this. Say Destiny. I still get a lot of people on the Destiny servers when I play late at night that are from Australia. And a lot of people in Australia play Elsword. However, it makes the game almost impossible to play within a PvP aspect because that delay not only affects them, but it also affects you. So overall, PvP is not worth playing. Like I said in the last thing, it's not something that I would put your focus into if you start playing Elsword. It's just not worth it. People are asking whether or not people still play the game because Grand Chase. So if people don't know and or wondering about people questioning about Grand Chase, and I stated, I think, in the Is It Worth It video, Grand Chase was shut down 2014, 15, 16, around there, because the game was really just losing its edge and it was starting to get old. So they shut down Grand Chase and they pulled all the Grand Chase players over to Elsword, or attempted to. Since then, there has been multiple private servers that have thrown Grand Chase onto different like websites. I know there's like a Portuguese, and I think probably UK, so on and so forth. And that's why people are still questioning whether or not Grand Chase is still played, and so on and so forth. Someone said started playing it yesterday with me and my sister and her friend, so that's pretty cool. Someone said I can still play on official Grand Chase server sometimes. Uh, and someone asked why not the official one, mobile. Someone also said it's not worth it, didn't like it. Honestly, they'll never do something as good as GC for PC. I do agree with that, because there is nothing better than a PC GC or PC Grand Chase, because it just has an overall, you know, buff to it. There's a lot more content that goes into a PC game. Someone says, and kind of poorly, but I'm going on a limb and saying these guys are well, there's quite a few people that will have, probably outside the US, and probably don't have the best English. So do keep in mind when some of these comments do kind of have broken English, that is mainly probably the reason why. He says, classic. So if you enjoy the game, then enjoy it. If you had enough of this game, then stop. Is it pay to win? Yes. You can buy pets, costumes, OP stats, skill cut in with stats, buy ED with money, plus 12 with real money. Is it free? Is it friendly with free to play players? Depend. If you want to have fun and enjoy it with a friend, yeah, keep on playing. If you are a hardcore, then you'll need to spend a lot of time. So, to put it in perspective, I do want to kind of explain how the real life money counterpart in the game works. So when you put real life money into the game, you get a currency known as K-Ching. This K-Ching could be put forward costumes, pets with the auras that picks up items for you, and so on and so forth. So what it is worth doing is a lot of people put money into it and open the gotchas, or known as ice burners, in the game, and they tend to open these up with a lot of money and then sell them for the in-game cash, which is ED. I think it stands for like Elaros dollars or something. Either way, everybody knows it as ED or ED. And the higher up gear stats, because each time you enhance a weapon, it goes from +1 all the way up to however many the enhanced levels. Because I think as the highest you can get right now is like +13. I think currently +14 is impossible, I'm safe to say. I could be wrong. Someone could overall say something like that. Like, someone could completely, overrule me in that statement, but we'll just have to wait and see. Someone says they started playing Elsword in 2020 because it's nostalgic. It had been years since I thought about it, but I accidentally stumbled upon it while browsing Steam store and decided to download it to see if it held up. It's even better than what I remembered. Number one, I would not recommend playing Elsword Steam. Elsword Steam has brought upon so many issues account wise, because if you start out playing Elsword using Steam, it will completely like unlink, and like, because essentially you're linking your account to Steam, and once you link it to Steam, it basically is going to ask you, hey, what's your email? And if you have your Steam linked, for whatever reason, your email is just going to completely not work, and it's just kind of a mess. Let's see, what else is here? We got MeteorFalcon saying yes, happy face. I will talk shortly about Meteor here in a bit, because I do want to give him a shout out, because he did come take his own time. I'm not sure how much of the video he watched, but I appreciate him coming around and giving his opinions. Stopped playing more or less when Chung came out, which is funny. That's when I started playing. Saw now that dungeons are shorter and easier, what I should expect when I download the game. Thank you in advance. Plenty of people responded to it, so that's good. Having trouble on whether I should not get back into it. I was in the EU server and barely met anyone. Extremely dead and unfun. Then I got into Void. Please don't argue on how bad it was. And it was not. It was not. It was not this. Not the place for it. So please don't. Okay. Sorry about that. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. Yes, you could cap within a single day, but you still had to grind for things, and of course for a private server. And it's kind of interesting because the EU server universally actually ended up having such a dead problem, which I think that's why eventually the um, what's it called? The international server has since popped up to fill in the gaps and try to get the populations of the outside the US or outside NA and KR servers up. Because I think Taiwan server is still up, as well as the international KR and NA. So, oh god, now it's just a bunch of replies. Someone also said, to sum it up, you're willing to spend a lot of money, you'll find this game very enjoyable. I miss the early days when you can spend nothing and enjoy the game. Side note, if you want to spend less, use the lesser famous / OP class. The PvP is basically button mashing when you have to max out your stats and gear level. Again, PvP is brutal. I would not recommend stepping into PvP at any point in time, especially if you're a new player. So yeah. Someone said I played this consistently for 4 to 5 years. Same. It's very pay to win unless you grind until your fingers fall off. I wouldn't mind returning though. It's been 2 years. So a lot of people replied to that comment as well. Someone said a timestamp. I would disagree. PvP seems the battle of a credit cards. Back in the days, I can get SS rank with a level 11. That's no longer possible because everyone has 2 million health and can one-shot you even at level 99. Yeah, that does tend to happen a lot. This game used to be fun. Now it's just a dead game. Debatable. Big laughing comment. Thank you, I guess. One of my first MMORPG games I started with in 2013. It holds a place in my childhood and I can't let this game go. Gotta admit, those Percocet and Elytron raids though. Yeah, I wish Elytron would come back. He was one of my favorite raids. Has a big long paragraph here. I've played consistently for over a year now and the game isn't dying at all. There are actually a lot more returning and new players now, especially in PvE. Of course, PvE is by far one of the most easiest things to do in the game. It's very grindable if everybody likes grindable games. So you can go ahead and play the game dungeon all you want, but anything past the game's dungeon, such as Edera Island or PvP in general, is pretty much what you don't want to touch. In all the common dungeons, it's almost impossible to queue in alone, and there's somewhat of a new party finder system for anything else. They've quadrupled their combat power since I was getting consistent high ranks for Hinyer, and now I struggle to get to the top 30 for my class. How much new competition there is. So at least there's a little bit of proof, and you know, they show that there are obviously more to what I have seen, and so on and so forth. So that seems like it's pretty much it. That's the gist of everything. Free to play. Somebody missing Void Else. And yeah, so that should be it. So to sum it all up, overall, PvP is what I would like to call a shit show. PvP bases on your credit card and depends on how much time and cash you put into the game. Now, there are certain spar sets to where you can put them on and well, I say sparse sets, but there's multiple things I'm saying here. There's sparring gear, which no one tends to use unless you're going by, honor rules. There are spar rooms that enable and disable armor stats or anything like that to have a level playing field, and it's all your passives and your skill alone. Now, I think the only thing that does outrule that is attack speed, but I could be wrong there. Um, so the free to play aspect is overall decent, but it's nothing that is similar to Warframe, Destiny, or what other free to play games are there that I can think of right off the top of my head. I think those are the only two, because Warframe, you can trade in-game items for the uh, real money currency to go forward and buy what you need or buy what you want. So, and Destiny is just purely a cosmetic game. There is no armor. It's all cosmetic. There's a few things that are interesting, such as like what you can summon and use, but nothing that'll make you more powerful in the game, just for you to ride around on. Elswords is completely different. Elswords, you can get buffs for your enhancement chances. So, say if you have a 50% enhancement buff, that can at least be bumped up to 75%, or like from 25 to 50%. So, it's kind of dumb how they've kind of formed it into this. You can have it to where your weapon does not, get demoted enhancement levels. If you fail an enhancement, it just breaks it or whatever the hell it does. From there, there's also the gotcha. So gotcha, if you don't know, is like you put in like money into like mostly gotchas are mobile games where you put in like cash to the game, and you open these like things or kind of like gotcha capsules, and they ended up giving you a random reward. Usually mobile games such as Azure Lane, Girls Frontline, and Arknights have the gotcha concept, or if you roll, you can get lucky, pull a certain character, and kind of go on with your day. Happy or sad, depending on the outcome. So Elsword has their, I think it's like monthly gotchas, which are called ice burners. Ice burners will eventually give you a premium ice burner set that gives crazy stats sometimes, depending on what you're using. So it can give you like critical damage and critical chance and different stuff that will end up like helping you in the very long run. Uh, so that's pretty much it, honestly. I would say number one, thank everybody who decided to sub and watch the video. Uh, Majorly to MeteorFalcon, which decided to stop by. I was very surprised to see him in the comments. So if you guys are looking for any Elsword content, it's safe to say that I'm going to send you guys straight to MeteorFalcon. His channel will hopefully be linked in the description if I don't forget to do it, because currently I'm editing this video and I needed to do the audio, so I'm recording this right now. So yeah, I'll send you guys straight over to MeteorFalcon's side of things. And as a quick heads up, you might notice that on your screen I have Destiny gameplay, because the next video I'm intending to do is a Destiny guide. So Destiny, of course, is free to play, and I wanted to do a guide on helping new players who are starting out the game, hopefully DLC list, because I do have DLC, push forward into how to play the game, how to get started with the game, and hopefully by the time this next season rolls over, nothing should be really changed. There's a few things that might change, but really not a whole lot's going to change. The leveling system is going to be exactly the same. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for the overwhelming opinions in the last video. It's definitely surprising seeing how big that video actually got. And I guess I'll catch you guys later. Adios.